Good evening, Formula One fans, which is new for this channel. Welcome along to the first race of the season from the FR Series Division 5, which myself and this man are covering. McNaughton is here.
Hello there, everybody. I hope you're strapped in and ready to go.
Oh, you're super quiet. Now, are you super quiet because Formula One's done that thing where it makes everyone else really quiet, or are you super quiet because you've done something?
I have not touched anything.
Right, okay, well, I am going to work out what has happened there. Why has that done that? Right, why are you now quiet? I don't know.
See if you go to your, because we had this issue yesterday, see if you right click your speaker icon, on your taskbar.
Yeah.
It brings up a wee box. If you go to the fourth tab, communications, it says Windows can automatically adjust the volume of different sounds when you're using your PC, blah blah blah. Click do nothing, then apply that.
Right, so do I right click or left click on the speaker thing? Sorry everyone.
Alright, so right click on the speaker.
Yeah.
And it brings up
You want volume mixer?
no, sounds.
Sounds.
And it brings up a wee box.
Yeah.
Click communications at the top tab.
Do nothing.
Do nothing.
Hey, here he is.
Me. There we go.
Ah, man, the future. Right. Excellent.
Wait. Can we just say, I fixed something before Zod. This is already a disaster.
I think you're still quite quiet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop you up a little bit on the sound. To introduce us a bit, or certainly I, am normally a Blood Bowl streamer. And if you are a Formula One fan, you will probably have no idea what that is. So, we'll not talk about that. Instead, we will talk about PC Division 5 from the FRS, which I am very excited to be taking part in. Just finished third in my own race. Good.
Congratulations, Mr. Zod, on that fantastic third place finish.
But we should stop talking about me and talk about some of these guys. So these guys are racing this evening at Interlagos in Brazil. We've got the circuit map up on the screen now for you. I can tell you, having just driven 36 laps of the place, it's a tricky little one.
It certainly is. There's also the always possibility of rain around the Interlagos circus. Some points even in qualifying and then gone by the time it's time to race, as you yourself faced this evening.
Yes, indeed. As everyone might have gathered. I think we're the only ones that have had wet quali, I'm not sure, but we had wet quali. So we've got the FRS, and then you come down the hill to Descida del Lago, fast left-hander there, up the hill to Herradura, and then the technical section, all those hairpins where it's really easy to lose traction and lose the back of the car. And of course the final corner, Jucao, before you come up the hill and all the way back onto the straight. Who's on the grid this evening? So I'm pretty sure we have a full grid in Division 5, which means it should be very, very busy. And for those here who are used to us doing Rebel stuff, they may recognise the name of the man in the Mercedes, Hummersep.
Or, as I believe he's going to be called, Hummer Shunt.
Hummer Shunt.
Yes.
Excellent.
I've just declared that, but yes.
You know what? I'm okay with that. We've had a change, actually. This is an old graphic. So it's actually Mahoney in that other Mercedes. There's been a late driver swap, which yes. I have apparently not fixed on my graphics because I am obviously...
Now, Mahoney is also an American and plays a lot of FIFA 21 online with Hummersep and Co. So they do know each other out with just a random drivers pairing here that we know of.
Yes, so as you might have gathered, the graphics out of date, and I'm sorting out my sound settings, but we'll get there. I do apologise.
Professional streamers ever.
In the Red Bull, we've got Evil Steel from America and that German one from Germany. McLaren have got a British driver in Roy Weller and a Dutchman in Kenordi.
Not to be confused with CK Noor.
The other one, who we probably the game that we do.
Yeah.
Hercules and Tory make up the Racing Point team, which again, if you're new to Formula One, you'll recognise as the pink car. It is literally bright pink. King Bart from Canada and Karna from Serbia are in the Renault, which is the yellow car. And then moving on to the other half of the grid, we've got Van on base, the American, and TK. They're in the scarlet red Ferraris. One of the teams to watch out for is the AlphaTauri, featuring Cookie and Jock James, the Pole and the German there. And those two are two of the only drivers in this field who are like veterans of this series. They've raced a bit in previous seasons as well. The Alfa Romeo has Dave K804 and Ian F5. Daft Chunks and Arif, not Mahonia, my graphics are still wrong because I am moron. They are in the American Haas team, and it is not two American drivers in the now. And last but certainly not least, in the Williams, we have the Malaysian Ice Kid Man and the second Norwegian on the grid, Dennis the Great. Cool. So, what we normally do, so again, we are got from a different community where we similarly specialise in broadcasting all of our games, and another thing that we do is weekly recap series. So the important thing about a weekly recap is we're going to be casting all these races, and we get to sort of judge what everybody else is doing, which...
Just what you want for two people that have never played this to go judge other people that have. It sounds like an excellent idea, doesn't it?
Exactly, right? So the we will... in order to make us not seem like sort of facetious idiots who are just judging everyone and pointing at them and laughing, we are going to have, well, we've both predicted the top 8 of the championship. Here are my predictions, as it says, based on literally no evidence whatsoever, because I have no idea who's any good. So I've just picked some names, and there we go. So I've got Tory winning this championship from Jock James and TK. If that happens, I'll be amazed. That beeping noise that you can hear means that they are going into the game now. So we will soon be able to join the qualifying session. Nuggets predictions based on weird Scottish logic look a little bit like this.
Yes. My expert logic being Jock James is the closest sounding Scottish person that they have, followed by Hummershunt and Mahoney just repping the Ammenstein racing team that we are all kind of a part of, a wee group of us, followed up by Paul Weller's brother, Roy Weller, and the German one, because I feel that's a very efficient name, so that'll bring out an efficient racing style from him. Canurdi, just because it's going to be a fun name to say. King Bart, just so that we can blame Canada, and you just cannot pick Canna.
We have no idea. we haven't got a clue. So the league rules, very quickly we'll go over this because we're about to get into qualifying. So damage is on. We have strict corner cutting rules, so expect to see lots of penalties knocking about for cutting the corners or running wide. If all 4 wheels go off the track, that'll get you a warning. I think 3 warnings get you a 3-second penalty. You can appeal your in-game penalties to league stewards, but you can also, if you whack someone off in the game, it doesn't give you a penalty, you might get yourself another penalty on the top. Ghosting is on, which means that lap cars can't get in the way and you can drive straight through them, and also stationary cars should ghost out of the way as well. If you're new to Formula 1, there is an 18-minute qualifying session, which is just getting underway now. The race is 50% distance, so that'll be 36 laps around this Interlagos circuit. The drivers that qualify inside the top 10 must begin the race on the same set of tyres that they set their best qualifying time on, which will likely be the soft tyre. There is a minimum of 1 pit stop that is mandatory because you must use 2 different tyre compounds during the race. Shall we get on with it?
Yeah, so let's get right into things.
Do we have some Formula 1? Yes, we do. So the car's streaming out of the pit lane now. And we've actually got... So this is a practice session that we've got here. So what they do... and I only didn't know this was happening because we didn't do it in our session. The practice session is basically 1 install lap. And this is just to test the connection to the server. Make sure that everybody's steering wheels or pads are working properly. So you literally go out, you drive around the track once... You come back into the pit lane, we retire from the session, and then we go on to qualifying.
And it's that simple, yes.
So Homicep here in the Mercedes, just knocking around. So for those who were asking, all of the cars are set to equal speed. And even, in real Formula One, the car, this is the best car. And then all of the other cars are not this car that we're looking at currently. So the cars are set to equal performance, which basically means that they all have the performance of the Mercedes. So it doesn't matter what car you're in. They have different colours, so we can tell them apart. But they have the same level of performance. So no one has any advantage over the other than like being better at the game.
Or having a different car setup, possibly.
Yes. It is. So we're expecting qualifying to get underway once all the cars have retired from in the pit lane here. And it'll be 18 minutes. 18 minutes generally gets you about 3 laps. Assuming dry conditions, you will normally fill up the car with fuel as lightly as you possibly can. You'll take 1 flying lap where you'll deploy all of your ERS energy in the battery. We've got an incident here for Karner at the end of the pit lane, who's presumably just retiring the car. And oh, hang on, we've lost the front wing now. So there we go. Do we also have to retire from the session, or will it just happen? I think it'll just happen.
I just left out just to make sure.
We have a spinning daft on the back end of the circuit here.
We've got King Bart in the channel here. Mr. Bart, I've got you for top 8, mate. Don't let me down. Don't make me blame Canada.
I think I've got him in the top 8 as well, based on our predictions that we have no clue. We have absolutely no idea. So, as I say, a few of the guys are veterans to this series and raced last time around. This has experienced a boom in numbers that's similar to what we had in Rebel. Our Blood Bowl League handles 850 coaches now. Yeah. So if they keep it up from what I've seen so far, this F1 league might get up to the same sort of level. But they had a similar thing that we got where they suddenly got a load of sign-ups. And it's how do you put those sign-ups into a competitive structure? Yes,
I believe they went from about 2 divisions to 8 divisions with about 100 new sign-ups from season 2 to season 3. So also a massive influx of new people, new racers, all different varying skills and speeds. They also have a few divisions on PlayStation and Xbox as well here at the FRS. So, they kind of, everybody's welcome, as it were.
Yes, indeed. So, as I'm saying, who we got in this division? We got Jock James, we got Cookie, we've got Hummersep himself. Tory is another one. I think there's 1 or 2 others, Mahonia as well, who have raced. I think Roy Weller also springs to mind. They've raced in previous seasons, but a lot of them only maybe joined midway through last season, and therefore, again, I don't really know if 6 races is enough to judge whether they're going to win this, because there's been such a structural shift. It's very hard to say. In terms of lap times, you're looking at, I think most of these guys are stuck in the 1:07, and when I say stuck, that's quicker than I can go. But they're in around the 1 minute. I think if anyone broke into the 1:06s, like a 1:06.9, you're probably looking at pole position if they can get that done. Yeah. Now that I've said that, here come a bunch of 1:06.4s.
Well, ideally, the weather stays nice and sunny for them. They can get on the soft tyres and really put some fast laps in. That's what I think we're all going to be hoping for.
Walvis, yes, the league does have a website. It is Reddit. And they have they've had similar complaints to, that might be familiar to some of my regular viewers on this channel. And that is around, Reddit's a bit useful. Could we maybe just sort everything out via Discord? All sounds very familiar, doesn't it? So we have got, on the track first, Tory in the racing point. So Tory will be the first to set a lap. Car number 25. As I said, this car is bright pink. You'll not miss it. But we're 1 short of a full grid here. So 19 cars will mean that we are very, very busy indeed. Dry qualifying, so nothing for them to worry about with regards to the weather. It's beautiful and sunny in Brazil. You can see most of the cars. There's only 4 cars still in the pit lane. You can see on the mini-map on the right-hand side of the screen there. Although that's now reduced to 3 as one of the Ferraris goes out. But they'll all go out. They'll get a banker lap in now. And you want to get a time on the board just in case you make a mistake on like your second run. Starts to put the pressure on for the final one. So Tori is underway. So we come downhill through this first part of the lap, the FRSs, and then this is essentially not a corner, this flat out. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2, so someone's off. One of the Haas's is off. I think that might be Daft again. It is indeed. Daft just struggling here off on the grass in the Haas there. We've got an Alpha Tauri just moving to one side to get out of Tori's way as Tori continues this lap around. We'll put the timing on because I should do that. But this lap has been invalidated by the looks of things because the track map has gone red. So if we're watching a car and the track map goes red, that means they've been naughty, they've cut the corner, and the lap time won't count for anything. So we can pop to Dave K here, who is also on an invalidated lap time by the looks of things.
Yep. I think
King Bar out on the track and looking a bit better with not bright red. So it looks like King Bart will be the one to set the first time. If a sector goes purple, that means it is the fastest sector that anyone's done. But of course, King Bart's the only one to do a legal sector 2 on a legal lap, so he will naturally go purple. And King Bart sets our benchmark at a 107.4, exactly where I expected us to be here.
Yeah. And we've got AR Cookie coming in with looking green sectors at the moment. Coming into the technical section of the course.
His first lap's coming in. We got King Bart on a 107, a 108 for everybody else so far, and a 109 from Roy Weller.
Interesting to see how quickly a lot of the first laps go out and then who will try to really push for those extra positions. You're looking kind of from Iana up to Mahoney, who set a very fast 108 there, looking to jostle for a bit of front podium position, or front qualifying position rather.
Yeah, Mahoney and T-Keg in the Mercedes and the Ferrari respectively with some good times there. You'll see them stick to the left-hand side to make the shortest route to the line possible. That was very close to the wall from Cookie, who goes into P4 on a 108.5. Promptly power slides straight onto the grass. So we've got a few slow-moving cars. What you'll see as we can go to have a look at Ice Kid Man in the Williams. You'll see cars moving very, very slowly to keep out the way. There are penalties if you block somebody else's hot lap. Hummersep goes into P2. Oh no, look at that. 7 thousandths of a second between the two Mercedes.
Yep.
So Ice Kid Man's on a lap that we've aborted.
Ice Kid Man also on his own because it is his teammate Dennis the Great that is the one missing from the race at the moment.
Okay, so we're down to just one Williams car.
Yeah, so a lot of pressure on his own shoulders. I do believe there's different point structures for him possibly. I believe if your teammate's not available or such, but he has just a spin from Cookie here on a hot lap. So that'll be the car coming into the pit now, probably for a new set of tyres from Ammenstein's Cookie.
So we've got a lap from Arif here in the Haas. He's had to go around a bit of traffic there. The Alfa Romeo not doing the best job of getting out of the way, but it was a difficult section of the course to do so. You'll be able to tell really quite easily which drivers are using wheels and which drivers are using gamepads, because the gamepad, you'll see a lot of the drivers sawing at the steering wheel as they make bigger adjustments because they're using a stick as opposed to a wheel where the action will be a lot more smooth. Arif comes over the line and it is a 109.3 that puts him P13 for the time being. So I think Tori's having another go in the racing point. Up the hill to Ferradura. This fast right, double apex corner. The ride on board. And this is the technical bit. Really easy to lose the traction here in this long sequence of hairpins Quite bumpy as well.
Especially when you come out of the first left-hander, it's very easy to oversteer that and spin yourself right into the wall. I've seen quite a lot of front bumpers damaged in that first deep left-hander that you take there, and causing a few safety cars.
Here comes Tory, heading up towards the line. Set the first time lap for them in this session, and that is a 108.5, which is P6. So the racing points P6 and P7 as we stand.
At the moment, still just waiting on 3 drivers to actually set a qualifying time. We've got Ice Kid Man, Evil Steel, and Kana. So ideally, one of them get a time in. But Hercules has spun as well. So that's another outlap ruined there by that right-hander in the technical section.
Kana is out on lap at the moment, but there's a little bit of traffic to deal with. There was a Red Bull sort of in the way there, so we'll see if that's affected Kana's time negatively. There's a lot of cars hanging out on the inside of the circuit. There's a Ferrari just making its way back onto the circuit. Kana up around the final part of the lap. It's not really a start-finish straight. And that is a 108.3. So Renault looking good, P1. King Bart with a healthy 6/10 advantage over everybody else in the field at this point. Going to see if anyone else can improve. So we've got Cookie. We're right on board with Jock James, for a lap. So we're down through the centre S's here. This is Curve de Sol, the long left-hander. You're probably on the ERS here, the ERS, to give you some extra power down the straight. DRS will be wide open. And sharpen the brakes down at the 5th gear for Destino de Largo. Now you're moving back up the hill. You want to scrub as little speed as possible through there as we head towards the double right-hander of Ferradura. Down 1 gear. And don't want to run too wide because you'll invalidate the lap if you go too far over that curve. And it's straight into the hairpin section. Very, very easy to spin up the rear wheels and lose a lot of time in here. You've got to be patient to get on the power. Homicep just getting out of the way as we come into the second right hairpin. Early upshift. Mergulio here is not really a corner. And then the awkward, finicky Junção. Any mistake you make in here, you'll feel the pain all the way up the hill. Kana's not really getting out the way there. That might cost us a little bit of time. But you'll see Jock James keep all the way to the left to shorten the run to the line. And to 108.1 for P4.
So we've now got laps hit by everybody. So it's a bit of a spread. There's a lot of 108s there. So we imagine there's going to be a few more laps ran out by those guys. I imagine King Bart's probably just going to sit on that 107.3 probably till the end of qualifying, just because he's got no need to go out.
Yeah, he improved by a 10th. Mahoney has gone and improved as well. He found another 4/10 to move back up ahead of his teammate Homicep. So the Amundsen Racing boys, P2, P3 and P4 with Cookie in P8 at the moment. That's a good qualifying result for that little stable of drivers there. We're watching the Ferrari, Van on base. And Hercules has actually binned the car so bad that he's not able to set another lap here in that racing point. So it'll be P10 at best. But you can see just how many cars are in this 108. There's 9/10 of a second separating P3 and P15.
Yeah, Hercules had a big spin out in the technical section. So it's probably just the car's had enough and he's going to have to rely on either not getting overtaken on these times or settle for a mid-place start on the grid. We've got Mahoney coming around here, but he is on a 7-second slow lap, so it's possibly his in-lap here. We'll see if he comes in or makes another run at it.
Yeah, Cookie's gone P5 as well, and T-Keg goes on a 107.6. Homicep improved to a 107.8. T-Keg now splitting the two Mercedes, but still we've got 3/10 to find if anybody wants to challenge King Bart in this session. We've got 7 minutes left on the clock. As we see Arif come out of Junção and up the hill, looking to complete a lap time in P17 at the moment. We'll see if we can get down into the 108s on this one. It's a 108.8, so that's P15 for the Haas. A nice improvement there. This looks like an aborted lap from Dave K. So other than that, what I expect is that we'll see the track looking fairly quiet at this point. Tory's actually improved by half a second on their own previous best.
Huge jump in speed there, definitely.
Yeah, so we're looking at that maybe popping us up into the top 5 if we can keep up that level of improvement. Keep him to the left for the shortest route over the line, and it's a 107.9. It is P5 for the Racing Point. Good lap there. O'Hay is raiding with a party of 32, which tells me the Division 3 race is over. You're just in time for the business end of qualifying here, and it is close amongst the whole field here.
For those just joining, PCK69, Hart had a bad spin in the technical section during qualifying, so has had to retire the car for this part.
This is FR Series Division 5, first race from Interlagos, Brazil. It's myself, Harringzord, and McNaughton, the Scot,
that
on
struggles
commentary.
to say Ammenstein without sounding like Sean Connery.
It's like Ben Edwards and David Coulthard, except it's really not.
No, it's really not, is it?
So we've just got a few cars on outlaps now. We're basically all just going to hang around for one final quick one, I think. I think Canodi might be on a lap. No, just finished the lap and improved by a tenth of a second there, so up to 13th place. The McLaren's in P13 and P14 at the moment.
In 8th place at the moment, we've got Ice Kid Man trying to set down a quicker tyre, try and drag himself a bit higher in that qualification. Just coming out of the technical section, which he's taken very well, into the last few corners. We'll see what sort of time he's up at the moment. He is up half a second, well, almost 0.6 a second on his previous lap. That would be a massive jump, actually, into possibly the top 3 if he keeps the speed up.
Yeah, it's probably not going to challenge King Bart, but there's a chance of a front row here for the Soul Williams in this event, and it is P3, just missed out by...
Massive.
Yeah,
massive improvement there from Ice Kid Man.
12 thousandths of a second off the front row.
Yep.
It's very, very close.
Definitely, as you said, repping the only Williams car here in the race at the moment.
So we've got Kana on the track, currently on a quick lap, so we'll check in with the Renault. 108.3 is a decent time, but you can see just how close the field is. We've got 1 second splitting P2 and Mahonia, and essentially P13. Oh, and Kana loses the back end there, coming out of the second hairpin. Second right-hand hairpin, I should say. So that'll be an abandonment of that lap. T-Keg in P4 is a hot one. Purple first sector for the Ferrari, so quicker than King Bart in the first section of the lap, just through Ferradura and out. Double right-hander and hard on the brakes for the right-hand hairpin. And through Pinarino. Got to be patient, getting on the throttle. Don't want to step the back end. We saw a little bit of a fishtail from the back end there. Car number 14. Car number 14 Ferrari, that'll take you back if you're a Formula 1 fan. And
it's lost it a wee bit in the second sector by 0.2, but we'll see if he can make it up on the way back.
Up the hill, be using the last of that ERS energy in the battery. DRS open, stick to the left-hand side for the shortest route over the line. And we don't improve. We lost out. So the first sector was great, and then we just lost out in the final bit. We can go again. Well, we've just invalidated that lap, so we're probably struggling to do another time now if we are. TK, here is Homosep, who is slightly down on his Sector 2 time at the moment. King Bart also on a lap just behind, I think, on the track. So we can see how these guys are doing. No, King Bart actually... Yeah, no, he's also... That time in screen. We'll stick with Homosep. Oh no, Homosep aborts the lap. So into the pit. Will he have time to change the tyres and get back out? Probably not.
He'll be close. He'll be very close. We'll see if he can get out there. I imagine there'll be a lot of people jumping out. Just the big grouping between probably Ammenstein's Cookie and Roy Weller are all within a second of each other. So I wouldn't be surprised if they all try to get out again.
Jock James keeping out of the way there, but King Bart was up by 3,000th of a second, going to abort that lap because we lost the back end there. So King Bart won't. He might be able to go again if we've saved a little bit of energy. We probably haven't, to be fair, and we might not have enough fuel to have another go. But we shall see what the plan is there. In the meantime, we've got the Hassers now in P10 and P11. Daft currently on what looks like not a massively... Yeah, 6.7 seconds down suggests not a massively quick lap. And it's the Red Bulls who are struggling slightly at the moment, along with the Alfa Romeos and the McLarens at the back of the pack. As Evil Steel pulls to one side and gets out of the way. So let's have a look at Cookie, who has invalidated this lap. So let's not have a look at Cookie, because that lap isn't going anywhere in a hurry. Jock James is up by 7/10. No. Was that a lap time? I'm going to have to get used to the timing screen. Getting 7/10 in the first sector felt like a lot.
He has unfortunately invalidated the lap, though, so yes. Possibly why.
Right, last chance for Mahoney now to try and improve up against King Bart.
0.4 up on his sector 1 time.
No, 4/10 down in the first sector, yeah. So that's not looking like an improvement either. I'm looking for a car that might give us a challenge to King Bart.
Well, we've got Ice Kid Man out again. He did make a big jump. He's 3/1000 down on his sector 1 time, but he did have some time we can maybe make up in the middle. We'll see if he can find 3/10s from somewhere.
Yeah, Tory just aborting that lap as well, losing the car coming out of Bastida del Lago. And Ice Kid Man is possibly our only hope.
He's very nice through the technical here. Those brakes glowing red inside the soft tyres. See what sort of sector time he's on as he just comes out of the technical section.
Need to find at least 3/10s. We found 3/10s!
3/10s. This could be the lap here from Ice Kid Man. Does he have ice in those veins? Or is he going to melt coming into the end?
Will he get the toe from this Renault that might cost the other Renault pole position? Ice Kid Man over the line for a 107.3 pole!
And he takes pole by 7/1000ths of a second. That's
right.
what you call the Ice Kid.
Right at the death, the Williams steals pole position from King Bart.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's one hell of a drive, I must say, from Ice Kid Man. From his first few laps, came out back-to-back on hot laps and just tore up that time.
Renault own goal, given the toe down the straight, possibly. I think it was Karner and the other Renault, and the sister Renault there. McLaren comes over the line from Roy Weller and improves up to P10 on a 108.3. So a good lap there from the McLaren. And I don't think we've just got one of the AlphaTauris coming over the line. I think we are essentially done. And Ice Kid Man, by 7/1000ths of a second, takes the first pole position of this season. What a lap. Under real pressure there.
Definitely, it was fantastic. Not only, obviously, the sole Williams driver out here today, but he came out in just two fast laps, taking huge chunks out of those top times set by King Bart, which we didn't think was going to get caught.
You got to feel for King Bart, who did make a mistake on his final run, aborted that lap, but was largely dominating this qualifying session. And then Ice Kid Man just steadily improving and stole it right at the death. The Malaysian driver takes pole for the Brazilian Grand Prix by 7/1000ths of a second. But there's so many cars. Mahoney in third, T-Keg fourth, and Hummersep and Cookie P5 and 6. With Tory just 2,000ths of a second slower than the AlphaTauri there, splitting the two AlphaTauris. Anyone in that top 8 definitely in the frame for this race. This should be an absolute cracker.
I must say, this is probably one of the closest divisions for a big chunk of the races that I've seen so far in these opening weekends. So it's definitely going to see if they can convert this fast lap qualifying into 36 laps of consistency, and see if they can keep that performance up.
This is shaping up to be an excellent race. So we're likely to see the one-stop strategy here. If you're in the top 10, you'll be starting on the soft tyres, and then probably looking to move to the medium tyres around lap 15 or 16 of this one. The two-stop it's too short a track to realistically do the two-stop strategy.
Yeah.
King Bart saying in the chat, by the way, that he had a lap that was 200ths of a second up, but he backed off. We're going to see a formation lap, so when the cars move the first time around, that won't be the start of the race. This is just a lap to get the feel in, get the tyres up the temperature.
Yeah. It is worth saying, if you do, for any reason, make contact during the formation lap. You're not out, you just get put to the grid without getting the opportunity to warm anything up. So it's definitely in your interest to make sure that you make no contact during this portion of the race.
Indeed. So what you'll see is a lot of weaving. This is the classic thing that you see from Formula 1 drivers and under slow periods like this, the weaving to get the heat into the tyres. And you really do have to do it. You will spin that thing around in a hurry if your tyres are not up to temperature.
Especially with the fast start down into the centre S-bends, you want to make sure you've got as much grip going through those tyres as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you will see yourself sliding off the grass and into the danger zone, as it were. Losing a lot of places. If Zord wants to bring up the tyres, just so that we can see what everybody's running on.
We certainly can, yes. So I just need to press not that button. No, I do press that button. So there we go. We've got softs for everyone except Daft, Nordi, and Iana 5 and the Alfa Romeo right at the back. Soft tyres for everybody else in the field.
Look at us, almost looking like we knew what buttons to press there.
I'm getting the hang of it. As I say, the thing, the game we're used to casting is very, very slow paced, and this is very, very not.
Yes.
So we've got Ice Kid Man on the left of your screen. We've got King Bart on the right in the yellow Renault. Watch out for a potentially fast start on Mercedes and Ferrari from row 2 on the grid as well. But there's potential for drama in the first corner too. There'll be a slight delay when the lights go out. It's a Codemasters thing.
See how this goes.
Lights are on. And we're away. Ice Kid Man gets off the line. And
Very fast start from Ice Kid Man. And that is almost perfect from him there, just to get away with a bit of space in front.
Yeah, so it's the Renault. It's Cookie up into P2. I'm just checking the timing screens.
Looks like no major incidents coming out of the centre S-bends.
I think the timing screen is off, so that's not really working out for us. We're just going to have to wait for that to settle down. King Bart is in second place. Mahoney is third. T-Keg fourth. And we've got Hummersep in P5.
Tory and Jock James each jumping a place. Ammenstein's Cookie is down 3 as Kana also takes a place there.
We've got Dave K around at the back of the field. We didn't see that one, but Ice Kid Man leads this race from the Renault and the Mercedes. We've got a spinning or a slow Kana in the background there. The other Renault losing a couple of spots, and it's all going to get a little bit feisty in this midfield part of the track. I think there was a car going sideways there. We'll just see what happens. And then as we go down to Van on base, going side by side with the McLaren at the back there and just moving through. So lap 1 done. It was relatively clean.
Yep, some really big jumpers and losers there. So we've got Hercules that made up 5 places on the opening stint. Unfortunately, Armenstein Cookie has dropped down 4. Kana has dropped down 2. But Evil Steel in the Red Bulls made up 4. So some big moves there. Hummersep stealing a position and fighting with T-Keg here in 4th and 5th.
Yeah, Hummersep going around the outside, and we saw a 3-second time penalty for Ice Kid Man already after 1 lap of this race. It says lap 3. Unless I'm very much mistaken, we're on lap 2 of this race.
So we've got
a virtual safety car. We've got a car off at the back. It's Cookie.
Cookie looked like he was having trouble from the start there, so unknown if he had some wing damage or some car damage from the start, because he was dropping places quite quickly. It will be interesting to see what happens here. Not the best news for Ice Kid Man, because what this is going to do is going to put King Bart right on his rear wheel with that time penalty still in play as well.
Yeah, so front wing damage. I don't think there's a puncture or anything on that AlphaTauri, but we've got to go back to the pits. The virtual safety car, we hope it lasts for a while, but it probably won't. And Cookie's race might well be run here. The 2 AlphaTauris at the back. Drive-through penalty for Van on base for speeding under the virtual safety car, and we are back to green light racing. Full speed again, and Hummersep under pressure here from the racing points.
We've got a wide, I think that was Hercules there that took a wide coming out. No, he's fine. Just trying to keep up with where everybody is.
Hummersep just defending from the racing point as we go to the front 2. King Bart trying to take the lead of this race off Ice Kid Man. The question becomes, Do you want to pass him on the track, or do you kind of just sit there and know that as long as I stay in second place, and he's only 0.4 of a second up the road, I win?
I think it's definitely, if you're going to get I don't think if you're King Bart, you need to jump to any... You've got plenty of race time to go. You don't need to force anything. But I think if you see a window, maybe once DRS gets enabled, that you can take Ice Kid Man on the home stretch.
Oh, Hummersep's had a moment. Hummersep's had a moment coming out of the hairpin there, and he's lost a spot to Tory.
Looks like no damage, just perhaps a wobble or a shake there from Hummer.
So Jock James now under a lot of pressure here from Hercules, who's looking to make up another place. The Racing Point with the DRS wide open, going to the outside. King Bart with the fastest lap of the race. And Hummersep making a move on Tory as well, just up the road. The defence.
Hercules, as he kept it. Hercules got the inside line for the second part of the CNS. Oh, and is there contact? Nope. It looks like Jock James gets out in front of Hercules, but I'm not sure if he has to give the position up.
Yeah, that might go down as a legal overtake. So there was a slight bit of contact there, and Tory's taken that P5 back as Jock James now holds the inside. Sorry for moving away from that, and Hercules loses the spot to the McLaren of Roy Weller. They're going side by side up the hill.
We've had an overtake in first place. King Bart has taken over the Ice Kid Man.
Well, it is all happening here. I'm very much struggling to keep up with all the action going on so far. We do have a change in the lead. Very well spotted. And King Bart now leads the Brazilian Grand Prix. Mahoney is still hanging on, by the way, in that Mercedes. And T-Keg sort of being cut adrift in fourth place, but also has a buffer to Tory with all that fighting going on in the midfield. The two Haas cars are very, very close together in P12 and P13 here.
We've got Hercules here, and it's trying to claw back some time on Jock James, but he does have Roy Weller right behind him as well, taking advantage of these slipstreams. So it's going to be a good fight, I think, between these three. The Armenstein, Jock James, Hercules and Roy Weller.
So the Haas is holding station for now. We'll go back to look at what's going on at the front, because Ice Kid Man has lost the lead and does have that 3-second time penalty got 10 with as well. T-Keg just doing his best to stay in touch. But it's Mahoney who's actually looking like he's particularly racy here and just keeping in play against these front two. It's a net P2 with the penalty for the Williams.
We're back in 12th place. We've got Arif making a move here on Evil Steel, putting him under a lot of pressure in the technical section. We'll see if he's going to be able to turn this pressure into an overtake coming into the back stretch.
Yeah, there's a real fight between the two Red Bulls and the two Haas cars going on over P11 here. It's points for the top 10 if you're new to Formula 1. 25 points for the win, all the way down to 1 point for P10. And there's also 1 point for fastest lap. And Hummersep going side by side with Tory into turn 1. And there's contact and the Racing Point is round. So the question will be, did Hummersep leave enough room there? Or did Tory perhaps need to give that one up? That one will probably go to the stewards after the race.
And just to climax there, Arif did get the overtake on Evil Steel down the home stretch, and he himself is now hunting Tory down within half a second. So that trouble for Tory up there with Hummersep is going to have a knock-on effect, I feel.
Oh, the top three, you can't really take your eyes off this battle for the lead of the race. Although I say that, but I'm struggling to take my eyes off everything that's going on in the midfield.
I must say it's been a fantastic race so far with overtakes all over the track.
It's a real baptism of fire for the commentary team today. King Bart continues to lead, but both of the cars behind him have DRS.
Yep. Mahoney a wee bit further behind, but Ice Kid Man looks like he's going to make a move on the inside, but decides not to. He's probably going to wait for the end of the Senate S's and take King Bart on the straight. He's made up a lot of time here, and we're just going to see if he can hold it as he goes round, with Mahoney, of course, looking to take any advantages he can, being the American, of course.
Jock James defending from Hercules. These two are getting to know each other quite well in the opening part of this race. And DRS for the Racing Point. Jock James defending to the inside. And it'll be tricky for the Racing Point to go around the outside there, but we're going to give it a go. And Hercules, they're going to go side by side up the hill now. The Racing Point giving up just And probably sensible, really. It was always going to end in tears if we tried to go through Ferradura side by side. At the back, the 2 Alfa Romeos struggling a bit in this one. Dave Kay's been in the pits a couple of times already. 8 seconds worth of penalties on that Alfa at the back as well. So not the easiest debut race for Dave Kay in that Alfa.
Again, Ice Kid just not close enough to King Bart to make full advantage of that DRS and get a catch there. King Bart using his...
Hercules having a look, no, just deciding against it, and a little bit of a wide line from Jock James. Possibly wasn't sure if the Racing Point was going to dive bomb him there. Torrey making up a place on Karna in P9 just behind this, but we got to keep our eyes on this because to the inside now goes Hercules in the Racing Point, and I think the move's going to stick this time. Hercules with that bright blue helmet. Jock James will look to come back up the hill, but you would suggest that the Racing Point has got that move done for now. Back to the lead 3.
So we've got King Bart here. He's down on ERS, so he's not going to have a lot to defend with now when Ice Kid Man does get into DRS zone. So I think if he's going to get a chance to overtake King Bart, it's going to be this lap. But Mahoney, of course, is still lurking behind him, looking to take any advantage.
Yeah, and T-Keg as well in that Ferrari is not dropping. He was 1.4 seconds behind before, but he's still 1.4 seconds behind.
Here we go, though. Here we go. Ice Kid Man. He is going to make his move here. Does he have the speed? Again, just not enough track there.
We've got an Alpha Tauri off. I think Cookie... Was it Cookie? Yeah, Cookie just had a moment there in the first part of this lap. So Cookie's lost a front wing, I think. Yeah, and is just recovering back to the pit lane. Not a good race for the Alpha Tauri. That's really bad front wing damage. You can see most of that's gone.
Yeah.
Looking at the fight between Karna and Arif now. I'm trying to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of stream time and screen time. But it is all action, especially up at the front. As T-Keg now bringing himself within DRS range of Mahoney for that last podium place. And of course, Ice Kid Man still with that 3-second penalty. There's been no other penalties for any other car in the race other than the unfortunate Dave Kay at the back. And we've got a Red Bull in the pit lane. And I believe that is that German one. Teal's early for a tyre stop. 3 second, oh, just as I say that, 3-second time penalty for Evil Steel. And if you don't know me as a caster, the Harringzord curse is absolutely a thing.
It is definitely. You all want it. You all want it. So this is it getting delivered. King Bart, I must say, is doing really well to just hold this lead. He's potentially going to take himself out of DRS zone now, which will give him a lot of breathing space and kind of let the Ice Kid Man, Mahoney and T-Keg just catch each other up, as it were, through the DRS swapping.
You see the big winner in this one has been Hercules, who's up 7 spots now from a starting position.
What you say is if only he didn't spin out on the qualifying, you never know how far up the grid he could have got. Fantastic race by my fellow Racing Point teammate, so I will be secretly cheering on Hercules.
Now King Bar has dropped the DRS from Ice Kid Man on this lap. I think Ice Kid Man's made a small mistake somewhere.
Yep.
And a 3-second time penalty for Karna in the second Renault.
Unfortunate there.
I've just there's stuff going on in the midfield here. I think that's a lap car. It is indeed a lap car, but we've got the Haas and the Red Bull. Still these two teams going toe-to-toe.
Fighting it out, definitely. Fighting out very hard for those positions.
I think we got to pop in with Torrey now. Coming up the hill. Previous winner is Torrey. Won a race last season in Season 2 in Division 2. And is not going to make a move on Roy Weller here. But doesn't quite make that stick into turn 1. The AR stands for Armenstein Racing. So it's like a sort of driver stable, if you like. Think of it like the Red Bull Driver Academy.
Yeah,
except a lot nicer.
Well, yes, it's the Armenstein. So a lot of the drivers here all know each other socially out with Formula 1 2020, such as FIFA Pro Clubs and all that stuff. So it's a bit of what would you say? A bit of camaraderie.
Camaraderie is the word.
Camaraderie, that's the word I'm looking for.
The ghost car is throwing me right off in this battle because the Haas is now past Evil Steel.
A gentleman's club, no, social club, sort of turbo guy. More of a group of friends that don't just play F120 and
pit stop.
Want to be known that they're friends.
Ice Kid Man into the pit lane. Now, of course, you don't serve your time penalty in the pit lane in F1 2020 is the same way as you could in a standard Formula 1 race. So Ice Kid Man will have to serve that at the end regardless. We'll need to see if he goes to the hard tyre. Luckily, he is going to the hard tyre here.
So he is going to look to go deep on this. Whether he was just feeling the grip wasn't there on the softs anymore. Those on the softs are probably looking to go 4 or 5 more laps into the race before going on to the medium tyres.
So Ice Kid Man's going to feed back out of this race just ahead, I think, of the Haas of Arif. He's got a little bit of space to put in some quick laps now, but the hard tyres more durable, but generally I don't think are seen as the go-to strategy here. So we'll see whether King Bart opts to go longer on the softs and then move to the medium tyre. We've got Karna in the pits in the second Renault as well. I think a moment for Canardi at the back of the field in that other McLaren, just recovering to the track there, and that's what the yellow flag is for.
We've got a bit of a combat going on here between Tory and Roy Weller. Definitely in the middle, 7th and 8th place here, very close together. We'll see if Tory can make a move here, coming out of the technical area into the back straight. Definitely got the time. They don't have much ERS, so we'll be interested to see what goes on here.
The Racing Point looking particularly racy right now.
Definitely got the slipstream. They look like they hopefully comfortably takes it inside. Will they get back at the racing line though for the Senna S's and holds that position nicely? That's a very big overtake for Racing Point. I'm very happy with that. Come on, Racing Point.
Right, well, I'm not particularly defending that one, but probably just accepting that move was done, and you don't want to lose too much time fighting a place that you're probably going to lose anyway, so...
Well, he does have DRS himself. Oh, and there's almost contact between him and Tory. There is that DRS there, so he's came right back, but that almost contact probably dropped him down a wee bit, but he does look like he's got pace here. Despite being overtaken on the back stretch, Roy Weller does look like he's got plenty of pace to make the overtake himself.
That was asking for trouble, that one. We got a little bit late on the brakes. Hercules now moving up to the back of Hummersep, who's very, very quietly and very, very sensibly going about having a very, very solid race in that Mercedes. Just sitting in what is a net P5 after Ice Kid Man takes... Ice Kid Man has stopped, of course, but the penalty won't be enough to bring Hummersep back into play on that. But P5 in this field, very, very solid indeed. But Hercules is looking to change that. Pit window is open. Lap 14 to 17 is what we would expect these guys who are on the one-stop strategy. Again, I'd be surprised if we see anyone taking a two-stop strategy that does not involve a front wing change. 5-second penalty for Arif speeding in the pit lane, and that's always a frustrating one.
It's disappointing, yeah. It's not what you like to see.
So Cookie a lap down here, so this isn't really a pass forward position. What we have got, though, is King Bart very much starting to drop the Mercedes of Mahoney now. Looks like he's made the tyres last that little bit better. Having been in the lead of this race, not in the dirty air, and now Mahoney's struggling to keep pace. Dropping to almost 3 seconds back now.
Yep.
Into the pits comes Mahoney. So we want to get slowed down before that line. Don't do anything stupid. And that moves T-Keg up into an FP2 for now. Mercedes crew come out with the medium tyre.
It's exactly what you're wanting here. You want out on the mediums. You're just going to coast these to the end. Although the last thing you want to do is get caught by a safety car in the last few laps. So it can cost you that way.
So very much looking to me like Ice Kid Man's going to get the undercut on Mahoney, who lost a lot of time on those old tyres. You can see the Mercedes, in the pit lane now, but the Williams comfortably through. Of course, with that time penalty to serve, and the Red Bull is a lap down at this point. Bit of traffic on the back straight. That's Roy Weller and Tory, who are still fighting it out. And Hercules now within DRS range of Hummersep. And Hummersep, to be honest, will probably be thinking, I'm comfortable here. Could you all just leave me alone? Because I'm just doing my own thing. I'm going to pick up a nice haul of points. I really wish that pink Mercedes would go away.
Yes, I don't think Hercules is in any mood. I think Hercules definitely out here with a point to prove. after the mistake in qualification. Looks like he is a man on a mission here, and I must say, I'm liking his driving so far, or their driving so far, with Tory as well, out on a mission. So Racing Point really, you know what I mean, showing what they're part of. And Hummersep comes in.
Hummersep does
new change of tyres.
I mean, I'm a very happy man because 6 of the people that I said might finish in the top 8 of this championship are currently in the top 6 positions.
Oh, look at you, your fancy predictions.
I don't know, that'll all go wrong. So we've got King Bart in the pit lane now, I think. Yes, King Bart in the pits. I missed that.
Just coming out now on the mediums.
So there's the Williams.
Ahead of Ice Kid Man, who is not too far behind, but of course does have that penalty.
Yeah, so
Got
King
a yellow
Bart.
flag in Sector 2.
Oh, it's a Renault. It's Karner who's off the road in P16, just recovering that car. It's nice and safe, there's nobody about. But King Bart really is in the box seat now. He's on what we think is the optimum strategy on the soft medium. So as long as he can hang on to those, turn round goes Karner again.
And he overtakes. He's got the overtake on the outside of Jock James, but he might have to do the inside cut. Jock James at no liberty to give up this position.
Careful on your front wing there. We don't need to throw this race away. And Ice Kid Man's getting involved now. Going to go to the inside of Junk Cow. This is brave.
He gets through, and his Ice Kid Man going to force his way through. No, Jock James is coming back at them. Going to get the DRS over King Bart, who I think was just out of range.
This is getting a bit spicy. And into the pits.
Goes at the pit.
Yeah, so Jock James was trying to get out of that and get into the pit lane. I think Ice Kid Man was looking for a slipstream at the same time.
I think King Bart just settling back into a nice rhythm now, you can see. So it's going to be, I think, if you're Ice Kid Man, you've got 2 jobs here. Keep right behind King Bart as long as you can and hope that he gets the penalty himself.
Yeah, if you're, King Bart really is just in a... You wouldn't say commanding position. Commanding suggests that he's running off with a 20-second lead here.
On a clean position. So Evil Steel picked up a 3-second penalty here for multiple warnings. I'd say King Bart is on a very clean race and showing how driving a clean race so far is very, very beneficial when your competitors have got a penalty.
So just sat in behind Tory, who hasn't been into the pits yet, on those old soft tyres that are very much screaming, I've had enough.
Yep. We've got Hercules just a bit further back in 7th place, right on the rear bumper of Hummershunt. So we'll see if he can hunt him down a bit more and get an overtake.
You just need to be patient here if you're King Bart. You don't want to lose your front wing unnecessarily on a slower car that is now going into the pits, so that does release and will give King Bart DRS down the main straight, although Ice Kid Man is not really in range. So Tory into the pit lane, down to the 49 miles an hour. And the medium tyres for that Racing Point.
Oh, there's a spin there from Iana, but it's been lapped, so it didn't have an effect. I was on board there with Mahoney, who I think maybe shat his pants a wee bit as he saw spinning. I'm just trying to figure out Alfa Romeo in front of him, but he managed to get through with the ghosting.
Oh, hold on. The team radio, the trolls are singing, and I need to now explain to people why trolls are singing. King Walrus, thank you very much for the tier 1 sub. I do appreciate that, and I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. I am really enjoying this. This is a great race.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's fantastic. And we've got still Roy Weller and Tory battling it out. Tory got back out in front of Roy Weller, which I'm sure Weller would have been hoping to just sneak in front over those pit exchanges. But they're back at it again, and Hercules still hunting down Hummersep, but he's dropped back a wee bit on time. Also, T-Keg, given he's due in that Ferrari, has extremely solid race. We've maybe went a bit under the radar for T-Keg, but they've been going about their business. Good pits, good times, keeping in touch with Mahoney.
So the interesting thing from Mahoney's point of view is that he's now 3.6 seconds behind Ice Kid Man. So Ice Kid Man's penalty means that he's still going to be in P2 once that 3-second penalty is applied. Yellow flag in sector 1. It's a Mercedes off the track. It's Hummersep. And there's front wing damage for the Mercedes.
Oh, that's not what you want to see here if you're Hummersep.
Car number 2 is going to need to make pit stop number 2, and it's a disaster for Hummersep, who we had been saying was running a very solid race, and that is slight heartbreak there for another one of the Armenstein Racing boys.
Not to say that he was cursed by Harringzord, but he was cursed by Harringzord.
Yeah, and he'll know that.
Yep. Oh yes, there's definitely front left wing damage on that Mercedes. Front left, from what I'm aware, is the worst side of the front wing to have. Ice Kid Man though putting a 1:10.2 fastest lap on hard tyres, showing that he's not to be forgotten about.
Yes, I was just about to say, as we go back to look at the front two here, I'll just come see how they're doing down the straight, because I know that McLaren's having a look at the Haas here.
Yep.
Right well out on Daft.
It's worth saying though, Ice Kid Man is the only one of the top 10 out on hard tyres.
Right well
so he is looking for a bit more security on those tyres, so you never know. King Bart, last couple of laps, those mediums could get a bit loose.
So Daft, I don't believe, has stopped yet in this race.
No, Daft has won 19 laps.
We've got a virtual safety car. Virtual safety car.
Somerset probably wished he saw that a few seconds earlier if he was going to go into soft tyres.
Well, to be fair, the virtual safety car might save Somerset a little bit of time. We've got a 5-second penalty there for Mahoney and a 5-second penalty for T-Keg, who've presumably collided under the safety car. Has that cost T-Keg a front wing is the question. It has! Oh, no!
Oh, that's definite damage there.
So that is presumably, and we didn't see it, but that is presumably T-Keg not spotting the virtual safety car and running into the back of Mahoney. And now, from Mahoney's point of view, you would think that he can appeal to the stewards and get that penalty reduced or taken away.
But T-Keg having to come in and pit, whereas Mahoney can stay out. So getting on the better side of that damage. T-Keg speeding in the pit lane as well.
Oh, it's all gone wrong. Another one ruined by the Zord curse.
It is indeed. After seeing how well T-Keg had done going under the radar, and we've just totally cursed the poor driver.
So he has served that penalty in the pit lane, the 5-second penalty there. You can see that the mechanics were stationary for 5 seconds. So that's now put Racing Point up into P4 and P5 in this one, as the guys ahead of them have largely fell off the track.
Yep, now we've got Mahoney there with his... I'm just checking how long that penalty was. 5-second penalty for Mahoney, so Hercules is just a couple of seconds away from a possible podium position.
Yeah, now the question will be whether... We didn't see the incident. The question will be whether Mahoney is kind of faultless for that penalty. It was just, It was a severe collision penalty. Now, that tells me that T-Keg has not spotted the safety car, the virtual safety car Delta, and the fact that he needed to slow down. Has run into the back because he's lost his front wing. As King Bart, it's a 109.9 out front. Really commanding pace. But yeah, it suggests...
It's interesting to see what happens here, because it is the front wing of the Ferrari, so you imagine it has been front wing to rear. So perhaps it's been a slowing down of Mahoney that's caught T-Keg out, or just T-Keg not realising as you said, the safety car was in play.
So Mahoney here, just behind the lap car, is now in a position... Oh, if we work on the assumption that he's probably going to have that penalty removed, because I don't think there's any... It seems unlikely to me that he'll have been at fault in that incident, but I could be wrong. He is very much just... He can settle for a P3. He has 14 seconds ahead of Hercules if we remove that 5-second penalty. So that should be more than comfortable.
It is, but Hercules has been making up a lot of places, so I don't think... Still 14 laps to go, so there's still a time for Hercules and Torrey and others to catch up. It's going to have to be a lot of pressure on Mahoney here after Somerset's incident earlier on to carry the McLarens through into some points here.
Fastest lap from Canardi in 14th place. You stuck the soft tyres on and decided to absolutely bomb it.
Yep.
But it does matter because... I believe this happens in FRS as well, but in Formula 1, there is a point for the fastest lap.
There is. It's like the top 10. You have to finish in the top 10, I believe, whereas Khan has picked up another 3-second penalty here, so just compounding the disappointment from such an early good start from Khan there.
Yeah, it started well for him. He was running inside the top 10, and I think it's just a consistency issue of trying to make sure that we don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
There's speed in that Renault. It's just... unlocking it consistently. We've got a Red Bull off in Sector 2. I think that's Evil Steel.
Steel, yeah.
Oh, front wing damage, wrong way.
Well, he's facing the wrong way. The whole front wing's off. It's just, how safe is he going to be coming onto this?
It's a good job there's ghosting.
It's a good job.
It is a good job there's ghosting.
Front left wing damage there, already on the hard tyres. You imagine he'll get in. Virtual safety
car.
car.
And the Renault with Karner is off again. So we've got a VSC.
So we've got Dave out on a DNF with massive damage. Same for Kana now as well. Compounding a disappointing afternoon for Kana, I think you'd say.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out in the end. So virtual safety car for, I think, the third time in this race now.
Yeah. Which will give Hercules time to catch up.
Well, no, it doesn't. The problem with the virtual safety car, it basically neutralises the race, right? So a full safety car and a drive-through penalty for Daft for speeding under the virtual safety car. That's getting the delta wrong on that one. But realistically, Hercules, who's got good pace in that car, kind of wants a full safety car.
Yeah.
The race has quietened down a little bit. This is sort of what you expect in the latter part of a race where you get a bit of field spread.
Yeah.
And, it can't be as lively as it was at the start of this one forever, or it would be a bumper car race.
Otherwise, I think I might have a heart attack if it was.
So, Daft coming in now to serve that drive-through penalty, and this is the worst feeling in the world, having to crawl down the pit lane. Hummersap will come through, and Hummersap still has a chance here, Hummersap, of recovering some points.
Yep, he's got the pace definitely to do so. He's got no penalties, so he's going to be looking at some free time there on the ones above him.
Yeah, so Mahoney did lose a couple of seconds, as has been pointed out by Land of Lemon there. That's possibly just a VSC Delta issue. Maybe got his VSC Delta wrong and lost a couple of seconds there. Drive-through penalty served for the Haas, and we have what I think is a racing point just lapping. It's Tory, who's only 1.1, so the big fight here might be an inter-team battle between...
I hope not. I hope not. Being part of the racing point myself, I hope it's just nice, clean here. They can use each other as a bit of an advantage, though, to try and catch up on Mahoney, using each other as a DRS, almost bunny hop, to help get themselves some speed, whereas Jock James has picked up a 3-second time penalty. So Arbenstein's Jock James there picking up 3 seconds, which could give T-Keg and Arif a bit of a chance to catch up.
It was all looking so good for Arbenstein, wasn't it, after qualifying especially, but Mahoney's still on the podium as we stand. Cookie's still running around in P16 on a 14-lap old set of mediums. You'll probably have to stop again. Although, in P16, there's no points on offer today. A lot of these guys are in need of a full safety car. And maybe, as viewers, we are as well. But the racing points going head-to-head here. DRS range for Tory.
Yep.
Different lines out of Junkao. And presumably we'll be using all of that ERS up the hill. I try to remember what the button is for ERS. You know what I'll do? I'll go to my spectator menu. And I'll do it that way. And someone will tell me in chat what it is, because I'm still new to this. Oh, hang on, we've got to move down the inside here. Racing points, don't collide, lads.
Please don't collide. Will Hercules just give Tory the space? He has. It does look like Hercules gave Tory the space there. So that was a concise thing, or just an opportunity for Hercules to steal the DRS coming into the home stretch.
Cookie is round and facing the wrong way. That's what the yellow flag is about in Sector 2 there. Tough race for Cookie today.
Yep.
Hasn't gone his way.
Still plugging away at it. Hasn't had to retire the car yet. So basically getting some laps under their belt. It is the first race of the season. So just even getting a bit of confidence in the car is key.
King Bart, de facto 6.5 second lead now, is cruising to victory here, isn't he?
He is indeed. I mean, not that you want to say that nothing can happen. There's still 9 laps to go, and he's just one bad corner away from a spin. So it will be interesting if King Bart can hold it till the end.
Arif in the points using a keyboard.
Wow.
I'm kind of impressed.
Arif does have 3 seconds on T-Keg based on the penalties at the moment. Hummersep doesn't have any penalties, so Hummersep de facto 10th place at the moment. So he's going to have to kind of pull out a bit of speed if he is going to want to get further into the points.
It was T, Nugget. It was T for telemetry. That was the keyboard shortcut.
T for telemetry, right.
I was looking at the keyboard going...
Nurdi picking up a 3 second penalty, which is probably the last thing he wanted. hunting down these top 10s for a point. Probably going to ruin Canuri's day trying to steal a point at this stage. And I know there was a few people in the chat cheering on Canuri. Semism32 was hoping that he'd steal some points.
So Roy Weller's actually coming into play against the two Racing Points here, and that is possibly why Hercules let Tory go.
Tory has shown the better pace since Hercules has let them pass through. Tory's pulled away. So whether that was a subconscious or a decision that Tory's saying, like, I've got the better pace, let me go and hunt down that Armenstein Mahoney. But Hercules is, going to have to defend from Roy Weller, who is probably sick to death of looking at the rear of a Racing Point because he's probably done it for the last 28 laps.
Yeah, they're probably on voice chat together. Get on the team radio to old Otmar Safnauer and get your teammate out of the way and get me through. But it is 16 and a half seconds now back, and we've got an Alpha Tauri.
Flag we've got is that Cookie again. Yep, the Cookie spun again, unfortunately. Trying to see if there's any damage to the car. Doesn't look like it's staying out as well. So just probably at this stage just struggling for grip, keeping heat in the tyres. Rev's not that high, so we'll just see what Cookie can do, just finishing this lap and this race off.
Just behind this, Jock James in P7 with a couple of second gap over T-Keg. I'll just check out the penalty situation on those two.
Sector 1, we've got a Red Bull. That German has looked like he's canned it.
Has indeed. That's a Red Bull on the wall. Front wing is all skew with. And that's a retirement for that German. We got a full safety car. That is what we wanted, ladies and gentlemen.
Tory is wanted to burn leather here. I think there's going to be changes of tyres.
Now, who's in a spot to take advantage? A pit stop for Van on base here in the Ferrari. Hummersepp stays out. Round goes the Alfa Romeo under safety car conditions there.
Oh, and there's a spin. There is a spin by an Alfa Romeo.
What? Is that a Renault stopped on the back straight?
King Bartas came in.
King Bart pits.
Ice Kid also pitting.
Yeah, it makes sense. Get off those hard tyres. Get into a set of softs. Yep. But this does bring the Racing Points into play. Brings Mahoney into play as well. Because, of course,
Mahoney stay out? I think Mahoney's coming in as well.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do from Mahoney's point of view. Get into the pits as well. You'll catch all this up under the safety car.
My question is, do the Racing Points, one of them, stay out?
It is soft tyres for King Bart. It is soft tyres for the Williams. And Mahoney and that Merc going on to a set of mediums and serving his time penalty. Now that's interesting. The Racing Points pit as well. So
Hercules stays out. Hercules has stayed out as Tories came in.
This will be really interesting. I was talking about whether Mahoney would even have to serve that time penalty if it wasn't his fault. The Racing Point goes through and costs him a position. Now, of course, he served that in game. Would he have had to serve that if he'd stayed out?
That is a question for people knowing more about me than this race.
I don't know the answer.
I would imagine if he could appeal it, he could take 5 seconds off his finishing time. But I'm not sure if that's how it would work based on the fact that they're now all bunched up. But Hercules has gone big Billy Bollocks here and stayed out on some tyres. I'm just getting a lot.
12 lap olds.
12 laps, 6 to go. That is in medium prime range if you ask me. It's whether he can keep Mahoney on the softs behind him for those 6 laps.
Fresh set of softs. You'd be hard pressed on an old set of mediums to keep someone who's been running ahead of you in the race behind.
Hercules has shown some pace though, but Mahoney was fast in qualification. So it is going to be very tough to see.
I do think that becomes a complicated penalty to appeal for Mahoney now. I think ultimately the situation is that he will get past the Racing Point anyway.
If he doesn't, he served a penalty, so can he still claim it? Because it's now different racing settings, as you'd probably say, because there's been a safety car.
Yeah, so this hurts all of the drivers who've got penalties.
Yes.
Because they've now got cars behind them who don't have penalties, who are potentially looking at moving up spots for free. The safety car out on the course at the moment.
Hercules and Mahoney looking to be the biggest winners here, obviously with Ice Kid Man's 3-second penalty. Going to come in a big pain here for him. Tory as well in the other Racing Point, looking to just try and take advantage and carry on a bit of pace, maybe sneak a podium as well based on penalties, but could see a 4th place finish there.
Spare a thought. Spare a thought for a Reef here, who is not only driving with a keyboard, but is on the oldest set of tyres, that's a hard set of tyres, and has soft-clad McLaren and soft-clad Alpha Tauri behind him.
Definitely. I was going to say Roy Weller probably just glad they don't have to look at the back of a Racing Point at this point.
5-second penalty for a collision for Evil Steel. That's a lap down.
Yeah. Now, do we get any sort of warning that the safety car's coming in before it just turns into the pit lane?
Safety car in this lap, race control. There you go. Well, that answered your question very nicely. Another collision for Evil Steel, so they're probably going to look at that after the race, certainly. That's a lot of time penalties. So it's King Bart to decide from Ice Kid Man when we go here. It is going to be a 5-lap shootout to the line, and off we go with Ice Kid Man getting a decent run, getting a very decent run. Can't pass before you get to that line. And the Williams diving down the inside, going into turn 1. Ice Kid Man leads, and contact as well.
Mahoney's overtaken, but he went wide. Will he be able to hold the pace as well in third place? I believe the Armenstein of Cookie may have looked like it was in the race before ghosting for Mahoney, but Hercules is coming on the inside of Mahoney.
Oh, big move!
There's wheel to wheels there between Harcon and Mahoney.
Hercules is back through, but the Mercedes still has the soft tyres on. It is all happening at the back of the pack.
Oh, and Tory's looking to get involved in this as well, trying to sandwich Mahoney between a Racing Point.
Run wide there from Mahoney. He'll be frustrated. He had the move done. Yellow flag. We've got a Ferrari round. I think it's Van on base.
Got Tory looking to try and jump through Mahoney. We do have Anna in a what's the dark red? We've got them in a...
That's an Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo Ghost playing shenanigans here for 3, 4 and 5. Mahoney goes wide. Tory's looking on the inside. They're wheel to wheel. Will Tory get through? Looking on pace they do. Mahoney fights back though. He's fighting back here hard.
Long way to go down the straight.
Looking inside again. Gives it up though for a good line at the S-bend.
Hercules very much the cork in the proverbial bottle here, and it's going to be another run.
Making a look on Ice Kid Man. King Bart going to go on the outside. Whoa, gets a wee bit shut out there. Ice Kid Man defending very strongly.
Hercules hanging on to P3, but collision.
Collision, is that Mahoney's front wing that has taken damage?
Is it damaged? There's an end plate missing, yeah, there's an end plate missing on the Merc. And now Tory going to the inside.
Oh, Tory, I think this Alfa Romeo is playing shenanigans in the Ghost on these drivers. Mahoney's front...
Oh, and round him!
Hercules is off!
Hercules into the wall!
Hercules has spun into the wall. A virtual safety car again here. Oh, everything's happening here.
And we've got collisions and a bit of Alfa Romeo front wing going. A 5-second penalty for Iana. If I was Iana, I would possibly have considered just slowing down, getting out the way there. Already a lap down. But Ice Kid Man leads. The virtual safety car isn't terrible. He needs to pull a 3-second gap if he wants to win this race. So he's going to need the laps of his life if he's going to do that.
Unbelievable scenes here, Jeff. And out of nowhere, Armenstein Jock James is up in 5th. Driving for their life here. Don't know where they came from. But poor Hercules fighting so hard with Mahoney there. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see exactly what caused the spin. It might have been the lack of grip from the tyres coming out of the technical section that caused it. But I do think there was a lot of distraction going on by that Alfa Romeo. Not by their fault, but just by the Ghost.
Yeah, we're still under virtual safety car. We're green flag again. 20-second time penalty for Canardi for speeding under the virtual safety car. And the front two are gone. No one is capturing the front two. There's a 7-second gap back to Tory, who is now on the podium in that Racing Point. Hercules in the pits.
Jock James in 5th, but does have a penalty as well, though, for 8 seconds. So Roy Weller looking like a 5th place if they can drive securely through here. But
and the spinner is Canardi.
It won't stop Jock James still trying to fight for these positions and getting in between Mahoney and Tory if possible. But Tory is stretching those legs. Remember we said earlier on when Tory overtook Hercules, we thought Tory had a bit more pace.
Jock James to the inside and through into P4. No, Mahoney hanging around the outside.
Mahoney, I think Mahoney just has to be smart here and knows Jock James has got penalties.
Last
Mahoney's
gasp defence, yeah, just play it smart. You know they've got penalties. DRS again for the AlphaTauri. Will we have a dive down the inside? We're going to have a look again. And Jock James this time.
Mahoney looking to just, it's just drifting Mahoney further and further behind from the racing point of Tory. I think Mahoney's almost just got to settle and say, look, I'm going to get 4th place here somehow and just going to have to settle for those points.
Up at the front, Ice Kid Man leads, but doesn't, because he does have a 3-second time penalty and is only 7/10 of a second clear. We're about to come onto the final lap of this race.
Yellow flag in sector 2.
It's cleared. I think we're okay there. Onto the final lap. Ice Kid Man needs to somehow find 3 seconds. That's not really going to happen. And what have we got? That's Cookie that's ahead. I saw an AlphaTauri ahead of Tory, but it's Cookie who's a lap down. King Bart with the fastest lap of the race. A 108.5.
Mahoney coming here fast on the back stretch. Going to probably try and make a move on Jock James. Yellow flag again in sector 2. Mahoney just, if you ask me, he's just going to complete this lap nice and safe. Mahoney doesn't have a lot of space behind for Roy Weller, but Mahoney has to just realise that there's no penalties on him.
Yeah, Roy Weller has a penalty as well,
You do not want to make contact. Roy Weller making a dive, almost clipping Mahoney's back left tyre there. Mahoney, I just think, has to realise you're 4th place, locked and loaded. Just don't lose it here on the last lap.
Ice Kid Man's not doing enough. It's no surprise that Ice Kid Man's not doing enough. He needed to find 3 seconds.
Clips Mahoney at the back. Mahoney swinging all over the place, but keeps it on the track.
Yeah, T-Keg is through now into P6, and it is all happening on the last lap of this race.
T-Keg again with an 8-second penalty themselves, so Mahoney must just be dodging bullets left, right and centre here.
Over the line comes King Bart to win, just after the penalty is applied. King Bart wins this one in the Renault, and 2nd place for Ice Kid Man. What a race. P3 for Tory, and across the line in P4 is Jock James. Well, I'm looking for is P5, and that is Mahoney. And Jock James with all the penalties being applied now. So Mahoney P4, Roy Weller P5, Jock James P6 after the penalties were applied. T-Keg 7th, Hummersep makes it up to 7th in the end.
Well done, well recovered from Hummersep there, I believe.
Van on base is nice. And Arif gets a point on the keyboard in P10.
Big shouts for Arif there. I know there's definitely chat shouting up the keyboard gangster. So good to see a point there. Poor Mahoney. I feel Mahoney just coming in the end there felt like he was in dodgeball, having a dodge, dip, dive, duck and dodge. Because there was Ferraris coming from behind. There was racing points. There was Reynolds. He was just dodging for his life. So great driving there from Mahoney, I think, in the last few laps, just to avoid being basically taken off the track from just everything.
King Bart is your winner today for Renault.
Well done to King Bart. Well done to everybody. It was an extremely close, well-fought race. Ice Kid Man, storming qualification. Driver of the day given to Van on base by the game. Do we want to run a bit? Who would have been your driver of the day, Harringzord?
I mean, I was just about to say, as we see the podium celebration series, this is my first ever cast of a Formula One race.
Definitely. Anybody in chat, this is both our first time playing here and casting here. So
there was part of me that maybe just wanted a slightly quiet race so I could get used to the buttons, I could get used to casting at like some speed.
T for telemetry.
And my God, did we have an absolute cracker to open up this Division 5 season. What a treat that was.
So there is the final standings. King Bart in first. Ice Kid Man out on their own as the only Williams driver, pulling in second place. In my opinion, I'd hate to feel being biased, being a Racing Point driver, but Tory gaining from 7th to 3rd, going through all of that, possibly. But then Roy Weller as well, 5 spots. But I think King Bart just so solid for me as well.
Hercules was looking so good until that mistake. He'd come from P13 on the grid and was in the podium places. But ultimately for me, I can't take it away from King Bart for driver of the day. Not quite pole position after Ice Kid Man stole it at the death.
Qualification dream by the Ice Kid Man. But it just shows that one penalty, which I think was got on lap 7 or 8 by the Ice Kid Man, has been the difference here.
Well, I've got a post-race screen for the debrief with Zord and Nugget where we can just have a bit of a chat. This is the last race, isn't it? This is the last race of the first round. It's the last race of the weekend. We've got the prime time slot, and I tell you what, that was a bit of a show.
It was indeed. It was phenomenal. I think we had action all throughout the racing line. We had Ferraris and Alfa Romeos fighting at the start. We had Renaults and McLarens during it out. We had the King versus the Iceman. Now that's going to be a fight going forward that I'm going to love looking forward to. And then Mahoney. I mean, Mahoney didn't do very much wrong for me all race. Even in qualification, got in some great positions. And I just thought really did well to survive is the word I would use for Mahoney. Survived this race.
What we've got is a title race, and that's good. I know there's been a few issues in other divisions with getting people in the right getting people at the right level.
Competitive racing.
People who've been maybe too fast for the division they're in. That was bang on. Do not touch Division 5.
No,
that was
Division 5 as it is. This is our division. We are not giving it up anytime soon.
Oh, well, take a breath. Deary me. We were going to do a few little segments here around, I mean, obviously we'll try and bring this stuff in for like the pre-race show the next time. We're going to have Nugget's naughty list, which is going to have a look at who's picked up the most penalties over the course of the season. It was a tough day for some of the guys at the back today.
It was. Boys, you know what I mean, drivers just... Iana, you know what I mean, I don't think really got off to a race at all there the whole time. Kind of looked strong at the start and then just so many little things picked up and then ended up DNFing. You know, I think some people had tough races, but it's only the first race of the season, so plenty of time still to come back and work on things going forward.
I think the thing for me, you know, it might be if it's a situation with not having your assists set up correctly. I will be the first to admit that I have the traction control on full. Because I use an Xbox controller and I'm pretty rubbish at this game. So I have the traction control on. And yes, what that means is that I am not as good as the people who don't have a traction control on. But I know that.
Yes, I think we both do. A big shout out to everybody in chat, all the follows, all the subs, really keeping the interactiveness going there. It was great cheering on. You know, nice seeing everybody cheering on. You know, there was no dissing anybody, which is always good to see. It was just pure positive vibes coming out from the chat, which is always great to see. So big shout out to yourselves there in chat as well.
Yes, indeed, guys. I mean, God, I'd possibly have a list as long as my arm of people who've followed the channel. I don't have short arms. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. As I say, that was from my point of view. What I'll say is obviously there will be incidents in the race that I missed on the keyboard controls because I'm still getting up to speed with what I'm doing. I hope you guys enjoyed the cast that we brought to the table there.
Yeah. If you don't, tough luck. You're stuck with us.
And TJ Macker, thank you very much for the tier 1 sub. Hello, mate. Well, I can explain the troll singing as well as the final touch. So as I said at the start of the stream, of course, I'm known as a Blood Bowl caster. You probably don't know Blood Bowl as a game. No. It's basically a goblin American football game with orcs and elves and stuff. I've been casting that for, about 3 and a bit years? That's a very slow-paced game. It's a dice-based game. We're used to that. We've come into this, and this was a real baptism of fire. But I tell you what, that was a lot of fun.
It was. For two guys, I think, none of us have played... Well, I've never played a racing game in my life, never mind online with a group of proper racers. But, you know, I think the last time I watched Formula 1, as I said to Harringzord, Mark Webber was racing.
You know, I did say to him in the week, I was like, do you want to do the co-cast for this? Yeah, sure, I'll do that. And I was like, how much F1 do you know? Does Mark Webber still race? Oh, God.
Yeah, apart from that. But I must say, big shout out to the FRS as well for being really welcoming to the community for us joining, you know, just giving us a division, you know, a great division to cast as well, letting us go with it. So big shouts out to them. If you are interested, we'll get the link to the FRS there. Hindus, I think you've got it there. If you could paste it in again, mate. So come check it out if you're interested. Sign up, come check out the atmosphere, because it has definitely been a great first weekend, racing and casting, and I'm just ready to just. That was one hell of a race.
Is it next Sunday? Yeah. I want to do that again.
Tell me about it.
That was magnificent.
We won't do it again. We won't do it again next week.
Yeah, I'll certainly be back. We will wrap that up there, folks. I don't have another. There's no more FRS action for you this weekend. I got it. Right. So in Blood Bowl, you can get a troll on some of the teams, and then you can. Yeah. So now those are the trolls. That's the noise that the troll makes when it forgets what it's doing on the pitch and goes what they call really stupid. And that is set to the tune of Rod Stewart, because reasons I could not even begin to explain. There you go. King Bart, congratulations on a very nice victory there. Very well driven.
Well done, King Bart. I hope you like the cast back when you get a chance to watch it. Great drive. You were forced, you were pushed all the way. It was that clean race that won it for you, I think, definitely.
I feel like I did my best to bring my A game. I feel like Nugget there did his best to bring his A game for this. And I'll tell you what, Division 5 brought their A game as well.
Oh, they did. So bring it again next week, because we are definitely going to look forward to seeing it.
Cheers, guys. We will catch you at 8 p.m. In Spain, yeah, next week. So we'll probably go live at about 2:45. Again, about 2:45 UTC next week for some more Division 5 action. I tell you what, I, for one, cannot wait.